There are many different types of bee, but perhaps the most fascinating of all is the honeybee. And not simply because it makes honey, which is quite delicious. There is much more to this insect than meets the eye. Bees are incredibly busy insects and work up to 8 hours a day during the spring and summer to make honey. There are 3 different ranks of honeybee: workers, drones, and the elusive queen. This honeybee began her life in a beehive which contains 50,000 to 100,000 bees. The queen bee lays tiny white eggs inside the beehive, around 1,500 every day during the spring and summer. Most of the eggs that hatch will become worker bees. These are all female. The other eggs become male, and these are called drones. A drone's only job in its life is to mate with the queen. He does no other work at all. After a drone has mated with the queen, he dies. The egg develops into a larva, which is fed bee bread, a mixture of honey and pollen. At 5 days old, the cell is sealed with wax. The larva covers itself in a cocoon, and for the next 3 weeks, the pupa will transform and change until she has become a full-grown bee. She then bites her way through the wax seal on her cell and begins to clean the hive. The queen will not lay eggs in a dirty cell, so the worker bee gets rid of leftover bits of wax, cocoon, and dirt from the empty cell. They get rid of these things by eating them. After that, she feeds the larva and checks them. Nurse bees check on each larva more than 1,000 times a day. The bee's body then begins producing wax. It comes from the glands within a bee's abdomen. She uses the wax to build the cells in which the queen lays her eggs, though some of the cells will be used to store honey. This is called honeycomb. The bees then take care of the queen by cleaning her, carrying away her waste, grooming her, and even gathering around her, flapping their wings to cool her off. Soon the worker bees stop making as much wax. Her new main job is to unload the nectar other bees bring to the hive. She begs the other bees for nectar by beating her antenna against the antenna of the bees that are out collecting nectar. A bee's body has 3 different sections: its head, its thorax, and its abdomen. The bee's eyes can track the position of the sun and use this to navigate to flowers and back to the hive. Their wings enable them to fly. Their hind legs have a pollen basket that stores pollen collected from the flowers. It also has a pollen brush which rubs pollen from one plant onto another as the bee travels from flower to flower. This pollinates the flowers. The bee also has a stinger for defense. When the worker bee is just over 2 weeks old, she begins to guard the hive. Guard bees stay at the entrance of the hive and protect the colony from wasps, animals, and other bees who would try to steal the honey. When the bee is 3 weeks old, it begins collecting nectar. She lands on a plant and sucks the nectar. She collects as much as she can carry and then flies back to the hive. The water in the nectar evaporates, and this makes the nectar become thick. It becomes honey. She only makes about 7 grams of honey in her life. Not enough for a slice of toast.